Hey everyone, welcome to Pink Tutu Tarot. So today's reading, we're looking at Mercury retrograde and what you need to learn or reflect on during this period. It's a 3-week period. It does happen 4 times a year. I'm recording this in advance of the August 2024 Mercury retrograde period, which runs from August 4th through the 27th. But if you're finding this video months, years later, not to worry. Again, like I said, it happens 4 times a year. So you're either in the middle of a retrograde period or there's one coming up. So trust the timing whenever you find this video. Trust the timing, trust the messages. You are brought to the information, the messages, the readings you're meant to listen to, the things that will help you when you need them. I do genuinely believe that. So I've got 3 readings for you and 3 cards. Group 1, your card is the 7 of Pentacles. Group 2, your card here is the King of Swords. And group 3, your card is the 7 of Swords. Okay. So all you have to do now is pick your card, pick your reading, go down into the description box, click on the timestamp for the group that you're choosing, and it'll take you straight to your reading. All right, thanks, y'all. Hey, group 1. All right, today we're going to take a look at what you are meant to learn or what you need to pay attention to during this Mercury retrograde period. So Mercury will be heading retrograde from August 4th to the 27th. That's in 2024. That's when I'm recording this video. That's the retrograde period I'm recording it for. That said, if you're finding this video later at a different time, then just trust it. Mercury goes retrograde 4 times a year, and there will always be another one coming up. So just trust the timing whenever you find this. So your initial card is the 7 of Pentacles. And at the top, it does say failure. And I know there's a message there because Spirit is drawing my attention to it. So let me just listen for a second and see what they want me to tell you about this card, about your reading. It'll help you better understand if you're in the right place, if you're in the right reading. So bear with me just a second. They're talking about repeating cycles that you have experienced in your lifetime. And they're drawing my attention to the circles here that this person is drawing on the 7 of Pentacles. It's a little bit different picture than a normal tarot 7 of Pentacles has. And it's not an accident that they asked me to use this deck. So they want you to pay attention to, bear with me, hold on one second. They're saying the circles represent different points in your life. If you notice, there are circles that are far in the distance, some that are closer to this person. Spirit's saying, if you can look back at your life, going back as far as you can remember, as far as reasonable, and think about what cycles of behavior or circumstance have shown up in your life repeatedly, that have led you to feeling as if you were a failure or as if you had failed at something. You know, whether this is a repeating pattern within your job, in your personal life, your love life, it could be any part of your life, but you will find if you take a moment to reflect, you will find that there are some repeating patterns that happen in our lives, and they will continue to repeat until we learn the lesson that adheres to that pattern. They're saying this particular pattern that you've experienced in your life has led you to a feeling of failure, like you did something wrong, or you didn't accomplish what you wanted, or things didn't go the way you had hoped they would or expected they would. They're saying now during this time, you're being asked to reflect on, number one, reflect on those failures and ask yourself, especially the ones that are further back where you have a little bit more perspective, do you still think of them as failures, or do you recognize how they contributed to your own growth? And the other thing they're asking you to reflect on is how much of these cycles that you experienced were within your control and how much wasn't in your control. And if it was in your control, any portion of it, how can you break that cycle? What do you need to learn from it so that you can move on, move beyond this? It may be something as simple as learning to tell yourself you haven't failed. You learned something. You experienced something. There may be more lessons than that. But that's a place to start for sure. All right, let's get some tarot cards down and see how this three-week Mercury retrograde period is going to affect you, what you need to focus on, what you need to reflect on. Mercury retrograde is a time of reflection, of renewal, of kind of getting yourself back to a place of balance, pausing, slowing down. Okay. Your first card is the Hermit reversed. Then we have the Page of Wands reversed. And finally, we have the Five of Pentacles reversed. Okay. The first thing they're saying to me, I haven't even fully connected yet. I'm still going to do that, but they're already jumping in to say that this is a time of internal reflection for you. And that's why you're seeing these reversals first and foremost. A lot of people don't like to see reversed cards. They're not negative. They're not bad. They can mean different things. But in this particular instance, one of the things it is highlighting is that this is going to be a time of inner reflection, of inner contemplation, so that you can allow yourself to see things from a different perspective, a higher perspective, a more balanced perspective, particularly those things that have plagued you, that have kind of haunted you because you feel like, you look back and you wish you could go back and fix these things, do it over again, not make the same mistakes again. And yet it's a situation that continues to repeat itself in some way, usually in a slightly different form. But if you look back and consider it, it keeps happening over and over again. And when you do reflect on these things, it's natural to want to know, why does this keep happening? Am I doing something wrong? What am I doing wrong? And how can I keep this from happening again? And that's what this 3-week period is going to be for you. It's going to bring into your awareness. So let me just connect fully here. Like I said, they were already jumping in with messages, but let me just connect a little bit and listen and just see if there's anything else they want to talk about before we jump into the cards. Hold on. Okay. What they're saying initially is that when this period first starts, you may not be fully aware of what this cycle is for you. And they're giving me that some of you are questioning and wondering, like, I don't know, which one is it? Maybe you've had several cycles that you have had repeated in your life, or maybe you're struggling to identify one. You don't have to know right now what it is. If you can just remember these messages, and as you get into the retrograde period, it will become evident to you. Because in some way it will show up for you again, but they're saying in an abbreviated form so that you can internally work through it, get past it, and then hopefully close the door on it for good. Okay? All right, so your first card is the Hermit reversed. And again, they're jumping in to say, you're probably not going to know on day one what the cycle is that you are learning from, what cycle you are meant to move beyond, what cycle you are ready to move past, whether you can identify different cycles in your life or not right now. they're saying regardless, you won't necessarily know which one is coming to the forefront during this time. They're saying, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. Let the universe take care of that side of it. All you're being asked to do right now, during this first week of Mercury retrograde, is sort of allow messages to come in whatever form they reach you, to allow circumstances to sit in your consciousness. So, for example, to put that in more real terms, during this first week of Mercury retrograde, you suddenly find yourself thinking about a situation that happened many years ago, or maybe something that really hasn't come to your mind in a long time, but you find yourself thinking about it, or you have a dream about it, or someone starts a conversation and brings it up. Use that, sort of out of the blue trigger to remind you what these messages are telling you. Because what they're giving me is, initially, they're just going to show you what you need to know, what you need to put your attention on during this period. Now, normally, Spirit would not tell you to put your attention on what you consider to be past mistakes or past failures or past events. It's like look forward and focus either on now and where you're headed. But this being a time of reflection, and that's what Mercury retrograde really is a time when, everyone talks about the electronic glitches and the travel mishaps and don't sign contracts, don't buy expensive things. Those are all symptoms of what Mercury retrograde is. And what it really is a time when we are in some way kind of forced to slow down, to pause, to take our time, to be more detailed, to pay more attention to what we're doing, what we're saying, how we're doing things, to where we're going. It really is a time of slowing down, to allow our consciousness, in essence, to take a breath and to catch up with the fast-paced world we're living in, and to even catch up with your own thoughts. So during this first week, when you get a trigger, when a memory kind of jumps into your consciousness in whatever way it does, that triggers a feeling of regret, of guilt, of failure, of not having done enough or been good enough, they're encouraging you, number one, to jot it down if you can, just as a reminder over the next 3 weeks. But then allow yourself to be open to the lesson or lessons and messages of what this period and this cycle that will come to your attention is trying to tell you. You don't have to figure out any more than that in the first week. Just allow yourself to, first of all, receive the situation that you're meant to learn from by way of a trigger from the past. Could be a memory or, like I said, a conversation, could be anything. It will typically be something you haven't thought about in a while, something that happened far enough in the past that it's not top of mind all the time. And then just to allow yourself to be open to learning something positive from that situation. You're not meant to learn that you screwed up. If that's what you get from it, try to open up your heart, open up your mind. Just ask the universe to show you the positive side of that situation and situations like it so that you can learn from it. Okay? All right, so by the time you get to week 2, we've got here the Page of Wands in reverse. You're going to start getting more messages. Again, when I say messages, I don't mean you're going to be, hearing, Spirit talk to you, although some of you might. It's more like you get more memories pop up. You find yourself thinking about this cycle more often. You find yourself talking to someone about it, or they're talking to you about it. More messages start coming in to remind you again, what you're meant to focus on. And during the second week, they're encouraging you to write this down if you can, but if not, just give yourself the space and time to contemplate. Whatever you can fathom were the good, positive points that happened from that cycle or similar ones in your life, as well as the negative things that you learned from it, that you experienced, and to kind of compare that list. To show yourself that over the expanse of time, as time passes, you can learn from situations that maybe when they occurred, the messages, the lesson wasn't as apparent to you. So you're really spending this second week going within and not just being open like you are in the first week, being open and saying, okay, send me what I need to know. In the second week, you're going to start getting what you need to know. And you're being encouraged to jot it down or to really focus and allow yourself to contemplate the positive aspects as well as the negative aspects of the situation so that you can compare notes on some level and also recognize that something that you thought was so very negative in the past, as you look at it now, you may realize it wasn't so negative after all, because perhaps it led to something very wonderful. Perhaps it made you stronger or more compassionate to other people, or stronger to other situations that come up in your life. So you did get something from it. Just be encouraged to pay attention and note in some way what those positive and negatives are. And allow yourself to just feel that. Because this may be a situation or a cycle that you have pushed out of your mind over and over and over again because it didn't make you feel very good. It probably made you feel very, awful, in some cases. But by allowing yourself to say, okay, what did I learn from that? Or what good things did come from it? You will start to recognize number one, it wasn't so bad. Even if it was terrible, that there was something good that came out of it. And it allows your consciousness to take it all in without sweeping it under the rug. Okay? And when we get to the third week, we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. And they're saying this is when you stop beating yourself up over what happened. Stop telling yourself that you failed. And try every day to just give yourself credit for one thing that you did right during that time, or one thing that you have learned and done right because of it since then. So in the first week, you're just being open to what comes in. The second week, you're focusing on the good and the bad, allowing yourself to take it all in. The third week is time to forgive yourself for the things you didn't get right, to tell yourself that the things you thought were failures weren't. It really is about forgiving yourself, reminding yourself that you did the best you could given what you knew at the time and what you had in front of you and had available to you at the time. And primarily in this third week, to get rid of that failure mindset and go forward, knowing that you learned what you needed to learn from that situation, that cycle, in order to improve your life and to improve who you are. And as you get to the end of this cycle, this 3-week period, this cycle that you have been experiencing, that you have experienced, I'm going to say many times in your life, but at least a few times in your life, you'll be able to close the door on it. You'll be able to shut that book and go forward and not have to concern yourself with that particular lesson again. Okay. All right, group one. I hope you found that helpful. I know this is a little bit different reading than I normally do, but I just felt called to do it. So hopefully it brought you some information, some messages, some guidance, some insight that you find intriguing and helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me know that our energies are connecting. It will help future readings resonate with you more. I have found that to be the case. And I just want to thank you for being here. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, all. Bye-bye. Hey, Group 2. All right, today we're going to look at what you need to learn or focus on during the upcoming Mercury retrograde period. So I'm recording this and will be posting it around the time of the August 2024 Mercury retrograde, which runs from August 4th through to the 27th. Could be, slightly later, depending on where you are in the world, the 5th to the 28th. If you happen to be finding this video after August 2024, not to worry, there's a Mercury retrograde that happens 4 times a year. So there will be one coming up, and this message will apply to that retrograde period. I do believe Spirit brings us to the messages we are in need of when we need them. So trust the timing when you find this, and don't worry so much about when it was recorded. Okay, so your initial card is the King of Swords. Just 1 second. I just want to hear what they want to tell you about this card as we get your reading started here. The first thing they're telling me is that the number 3 is going to be very important to you, or already is very important to you. But Mercury retrograde is a period that lasts for 3 weeks. They're saying they have 3 messages for you to consider over this period. So hopefully we'll learn more about that with the other tarot cards. They are drawing my attention to the 3 birds on this card. And they're saying those represent the messages that are going to be coming in during this period ahead. Let me see what else. They're telling, they're wanting to tell you that, as you may or may not know, sorry, y'all, my words are coming out of my mouth faster than I can speak them. Mercury retrograde is a time of reflection. It's a time meant for us to be able to slow down, to pause, to allow life to sort of catch up to us a little bit. Everybody's always going so fast and things are happening so quickly. And this Mercury retrograde period brings a time of pausing, of slowing down, of giving yourself a chance to breathe. And that's really what this period is about in general. We tend to focus on things like, technological glitches, electrical glitches, maybe travel mishaps or problems. Those things can all happen. They don't always, but they can happen during this time. It isn't really what Mercury retrograde is about. It is about slowing down. And that's why some of these mishaps happen. Some of these obstacles kind of, occur in our lives to slow us down, to force us to step back and go, okay, I'm going to allow myself to take a step back, relax, breathe, give this some time to pass. So while you're being encouraged to, don't sign contracts, don't buy expensive things you can't return during Mercury retrograde, some of that is because during this 3 weeks, you're being encouraged to consider that contract you would have signed. Maybe read it more closely, to reconsider something you're about to drop a bunch of money on, and maybe step back and go, is that something I really want? If you force yourself to wait out the retrograde period, you may find that what you thought you wanted on day 1 is no longer what you want on day 21. So it really is meant to be a time of pausing and reflecting. And Spirit is saying for you, Group 2, during this 3-week period, you're going to get 3 messages, 3 lessons, 3 opportunities to reconsider, to reflect, to pause, and remind yourself what it is you really want. Okay? All right, so that's where we're starting, but let's find out a little more information here for you with some more tarot. Okay. Your first card is the Seven of Swords reversed. Then we have the Nine of Wands reversed. And finally, the Wheel of Fortune reversed. It's funny, group one had all reversed cards as well. You know, I fully shuffle all of my decks beforehand, and of course I do as well on screen. Um, but it's no coincidence, really, because Mercury, like I said, is a time of stepping back and reflecting, and the reversed cards are showing just that. It's not about moving forward and making things happen and jumping ahead. It's about slowing down, slowing down. Okay? Okay. Give me just a sec. I just want to hear what they want to say about these cards in general, and then we'll talk through each one. So bear with me one sec while I listen, y'all. Okay, the first thing they're saying is there are three cards here. They represent the first, the second, the third week of Mercury retrograde. So three cards, 3 weeks. They're saying three separate scenarios for you to look into, and for you to remind yourself what it is you really want, or to allow yourself to decide what it is you really want, rather than making kind of a rash decision, or maybe an emotional decision, a rushed decision. Slow down, and with each week and each message, give yourself a chance to really think about the situation and consider it. Okay? So, for week one, your card is the Seven of Swords reverse. They're saying there's something, pardon me, sorry about my voice, y'all. Give me one sec, I just want to. They're saying for this first week, there's something that you're contemplating leaving or changing or doing away with. There's something you're wanting to get rid of in some way, or to move away from. For some of you, you may be thinking about moving home, moving to a new home or away from your home, changing jobs, um, changing who you live with. That's an interesting way of putting it. I can understand that. Could be roommates, or a partner, family members. Those are just some examples. Won't necessarily be exactly it for you, but just kind of take those as examples. But there's something that you are wanting to go away from, that you're considering leaving, that you're considering putting behind you, considering changing, or in some cases, considering moving toward. Like, for example, you're considering moving to a new city, you're moving to a new place. During this first week, consider this thing in your life that you are struggling with. Should I stay or should I go? Kind of question. And ask yourself, first of all, ask yourself, do you know what you really want? Or are you making a rash decision based on limited information? The second thing they're saying to me is for you to ask yourself, what are you afraid of with this situation? What are you afraid of that makes you want to leave? And or what are you afraid of when it comes to where it is you want to go toward? And you may be saying to yourself, well, I'm not afraid of anything. I just want to make a change. They're saying reconsider that again. And as you're going through the first week of Mercury retrograde, you'll find that some of the thoughts you have change a little bit, and you start to see things just slightly different, because that's what this time does, is it allows us a little bit of a different perspective. And I'm not saying to focus on what you're afraid of, or to kind of manufacture or create something that you're afraid of, but just allow yourself to truly consider, is there something, even something subtle, that scares me a little bit about this situation? And really ask yourself, why do I want to leave? Why do I want to go to this other thing, this other situation, this other place, this other person, whatever it may be? What is the why here about whatever it is, excuse me, whatever it is you're wanting to move on from? And is it rational? Is it an emotional decision? Or do you know deep down it is just the right thing? Just allow yourself to explore it. Spirit's not here to give you the answer. They're not here saying you should do it or you shouldn't do it. And I'm certainly not here saying you should or shouldn't do it, because this reading isn't about that. And neither is this time period. It's not about anybody telling you what to do ever. It's about you asking yourself the hard question. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're afraid of something, and it may be afraid of something good. It may be afraid of a relationship working out. It may be afraid of a relationship not working out, or a job not improving. You're afraid things are never going to get better, and so you'd rather just jump ship and go somewhere else, right? Or you're afraid of moving to a new city because you don't know anybody there. But there's something about where you are that doesn't feel comfortable either. So consider what it is you're afraid of and start asking yourself, is it a real fear or not? Is this something I can allow more time for it to become clear before I make a decision? Just give it some thought, give it some consideration. Because they're telling me there's something you're not seeing clearly. You're wanting to leave something or someone or somewhere. They're saying because of an emotional fear of some kind. You're wanting to get away from something or someone to avoid having to face a fear of some kind. So take that as it resonates, but they're encouraging you to look at that fear and ask yourself, is it real or not? Sometimes just recognizing that it's a fear we have can allow us to overcome that fear. Okay. All right. In the second week, we have here the Nine of Wands reversed. They're saying that there are some walls that you have built up. And in the second, in some area of your life, right? Some area of your life that you're very protective of, that you're very cautious about, that you are not as open and vulnerable about, maybe with someone in your life or just in general. And the second week in Mercury retrograde, you're going to be shown ways to start to overcome that a little bit, put your guard down just enough to allow yourself to see over the wall. See over the wall. Because there is this wall that's been built up in some level that is preventing you from experiencing a situation fully and from seeing a situation in full clarity. So you're going to be not faced with challenges, but be given opportunities to slowly start to bring that wall down a little bit at a time, and to feel and experience what that is like. Because they're telling me that this is a wall that doesn't need to be as high as it is. It doesn't mean you don't protect yourself, that you're not cautious about certain things, or that you need to be completely vulnerable in the world, because that's not the case. But this wall doesn't need to be as high as it is, because it is preventing you from moving forward in some way, in some area of your life. Okay? Okay, in the third week, bear with me, third week of Mercury retrograde, we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Now, hold on one second. I just want to listen to what they want to talk about here. They're asking you to, during this week, consider what you want for the future. You know, the Wheel of Fortune turns throughout our lives. There are ups, there are downs. We move forward, we move past things. Sometimes we go forward and we, take one step forward, two steps back so we can revisit a situation. They're saying right now, during this third week of Mercury retrograde, you'll be encouraged to step your foot, even just mentally, considering a situation that you want, but to step your foot into the future in essence. Like dip your toe in the water of what you think the future will look like and allow yourself to consider what you want the future to look like and do those things align. Is what you want, does what you want line up with what you think is going to happen? Or is what you think what you think is going to happen the opposite or in conflict with what you want to happen? For instance, you maybe love your job, you love what you do, you think the company is worthwhile, you want to get ahead with your job, but you don't think you will because your boss doesn't like you or there isn't enough opportunities there or whatever it may be. So in this instance, what you want and what you expect are in opposition. And they're saying they want you to ask yourself during this week if what you want to happen is, number one, what you really want. And if what you think is going to happen is just a fear, or is it reality? If you're 99% sure it's reality, then what you want is sort of just out there floundering, unable to land. So what can you do about it? What do you really want then? If you're convinced it can't happen, the way it is can't happen. But what they're telling me is that in most cases, for most of you, what you think is going to happen is based on a fear, not based in reality. And sometimes if we can just change our perspective, we can turn things around and find ourselves sitting at the top of the wheel rather than, riding at the bottom, suffering at the bottom in some sense. You don't have to be at the bottom of the wheel. You can be at the top of the wheel in a place of success, in a place of getting what you want. But there is this need to eliminate some of that fear that is keeping you from believing it can happen. And like I said, if you're 99.9% sure it cannot happen, then what are you holding on to? Maybe it's time to imagine a new dream and imagine a new future. Because to hang on to a future you know for a fact can't happen is to set yourself up for frustration. But if you just believe, if you just are afraid it might not happen, and you've convinced yourself of the worst, it might be that what you need is a new perspective, a new chance to believe that what you want and what you expect can both be the same, can both come true and be in alignment. Interesting. All right, group 2, I hope that helps. I hope it kind of gives you some insight into what to expect during this 3-week period. If it resonated, if you found it helpful in any way, I hope you'll give the video a thumbs up. It really helps me. It helps me know that our energies are connecting, which is good for me as I'm reading for you here. Helps the channel, of course, so it helps readings get out to more people who need to hear these messages for themselves. And I do believe it helps you as well. I believe it helps future readings resonate for you more clearly, more personally. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate them and I read every single one. And I hope you have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye. Hey, group 3. All right, today we're going to be looking at this upcoming Mercury retrograde and what you need to learn or what you need to reflect on during this time. Now, we have Mercury going retrograde from August 4th through the 27th, give or take, depending on where you are in the world. But if you're finding this video at a different time than August 2024, don't worry. There is a Mercury retrograde that occurs 4 times a year. So no matter when you find this video, you'll either be in Mercury retrograde or there will be one ahead of you. So you can always go online and find out when the next one is. But trust the messages, trust the timing. When you find the video, it's when you're meant to watch it. So your initial card is the 7 of Swords. And I'm being shown this word at the top. They're drawing my attention to it to bring it up. And it says futility. Futility. Now give me just a sec. I just want to hear what Spirit wants to tell you about this card and about your reading in general. So bear with me one sec. They're talking about a future situation that you have all but given up on any hope on. There's something that you think is futile. You can't see a way out. You can't see a way through it. You don't know what to do. You can't see a way of it working out, of resolving itself. And while you may not have completely given up hope, you're near the end of hope, if that makes sense. You don't even know what to hope for anymore. You just think, "Ah, this is never going to work. This is never going to work." Could be a job, could be a relationship, could be, a situation in your life. Maybe you're trying to buy a home, or there's something you're trying to do. You're trying to go somewhere, whether it's for a move or a travel opportunity. It could be any number of things for you, but there's something in your life that you're thinking, I've been beating my head against the wall, trying to get this to work, trying to find a way, trying to figure it out, and it's not coming together. I'm just about ready to give up on it altogether. Okay? It's this feeling of futility that they're drawing your attention to, or this situation that you feel is futile that they're drawing your attention to, and they're wanting you to reconsider it. They're saying the timing is important for this to happen, whatever it is for you. They're encouraging you to not release something, give up on it, throw it away, chuck it, until you've had time to reflect on it some more and consider if there's another way or a different time where this will make sense, where it will work out. So they're saying don't do anything yet as far as getting rid of something or giving up hope on something working out. Okay? All right, we're going to get a little more information here with some more tarot cards. They're saying give yourself a little more time to figure out the positives and the negatives about this situation and what you think can happen versus maybe the universe surprising you in some way or you surprising yourself in some way. Your first card is the Four of Swords. Then we have the Three of Cups. And finally, the Queen of Cups. Okay. All right, give me just a sec. I just want to take these cards in and listen for some initial messages for you. And then we'll talk through what's going on here, okay? The first thing they're saying is the word time. And they're saying, take your time. Allow this 3-week period to play out in the way it is supposed to, without too much active input on your part. Doesn't mean don't do anything, but try not to force or control this situation. Whatever it is that you think is futile or you're getting frustrated with, allow it to play out in its own time and in its own space and in its own way, so you can explore what it means for you. You know, hold on, what are you saying? They're saying, see if you can, over this 3-week time frame, see if you can find a way to believe in the positive side of the situation. To believe that whatever has been frustrating you can resolve itself without you trying to figure it out necessarily. Because it's not about using this time to figure it out. It's about using this time to allow yourself to believe again that it will work itself out. And possibly to see some evidence that that resolution has begun. Okay? All right, let's talk through the cards. Your first card, it represents the first of the 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde. And we have here the Four of Swords. And the first thing they're coming in to say is, do nothing. Allow yourself, and that doesn't mean don't do anything in your life. Obviously, you have responsibilities and whatnot. But with regards to this situation, allow yourself to be still. Try not to think about it. Try not to research it, whatever it may be. Try not to, try not to analyze the situation. Give yourself a little space from it, mental space. If it's, trying to figure out what to do about your job, just as an example, obviously you still have to keep going to work. So you can't distance yourself physically, but mentally you can give yourself some space to stop thinking about the problem and just be in the here and now. Clear your mind of whatever it is that is frustrating you, whatever it is that you think is the challenge, that you think is the problem, that you think is unsolvable. Give your brain a rest from that. And just allow the universe to show you what you need to know. Don't ask for it. Don't go looking for it. Just put it aside and see what comes to you. Okay? All right. In the second week, you have the Three of Cups. Just one sec. I just want to hear what they want to say about this. They're saying in the second week, you're going to get possibly just a tiny, a little peek at success here. Whatever it is that you have been mentally fighting with, feeling exasperated by, feeling frustrated about, in the second week, they're giving me, you're going to get a tiny taste of what it would look like, what it would feel like if everything actually worked out. Worked out for the best, worked out for the positive, worked out in a way that you can't maybe even fathom right now. And allow yourself to experience that joy. Allow yourself to even be surprised at what the solution might look like. And it doesn't mean that that's what the final solution will look like, But in some way, you're going to get a taste of success here, a taste of, it's like releasing the problem and seeing the solution, or seeing a solution, and suddenly getting this newly revived hope that things can actually work out when you've all but given up hope that it can up until this point. And they're encouraging you to share that excitement with someone in your life or people in your life. So there may be somebody that you talk to, that you express your frustration with in some way, someone you vent to, someone who understands what you're dealing with. Share with them this newfound hope, even if it is very, very tiny, even if it's just a sliver of hope, the tiniest silver lining here. No matter how big or small it is, share it with someone who understands how you're feeling right now, who understands the frustration in some way, probably because you've been talking with them about it. They're saying by sharing it with somebody who gets it, who knows what you've been going through, maybe they're even going through it with you, it reinforces that sense of hope and happiness and belief that it's not all so bad after all, that it just might work out. It just reinforces that happiness, that sense of joy and excitement. It reinforces it. So really try to do that in this second week. Share it. I don't know exactly what will happen for you because your situations will all be different in the general reading, but they are giving me that something is going to trigger this hope. You're going to get the tiniest indication that things might work out. Maybe it's a comment from your boss or getting recognized for something. Maybe, if you've been, just as an example, you've been trying to buy a home and nothing affordable is coming up. You see something online that you go, whoa, wait a minute. I wouldn't have expected to see that at that price. Maybe a new idea that is slightly different than what you had in mind comes to the forefront of your consciousness, and you realize there might be a different way to make it work that you hadn't considered before. But you're just allowing in the first week for the universe to just show you what's possible and what you could possibly do. Really, it's about showing you possibilities, giving you the opportunity to believe again. And in the second week, you will get that opportunity to believe in some way. And again, it might be a small indicator. It's not the answer to all your problems or the solution to your prayers here, but it's an indication of future happiness here. Something, the possibility of something actually working out the way you want it to. All right. And then we get to week 3 where we have the Queen of Cups. One sec. They're saying in the third week, you're going to realize, first of all, you're going to realize how far you've come. That's what they just gave me. How far you've come over this 3-week period. By the end of the 3 weeks, you will realize, you'll be able to look back and go, wow, I've really changed my own mind in a big way, and what I believe is possible and what I think is, I'm capable of, however that works for you. You're going to see how far you've come in a matter of just 3 weeks. How much you have changed. How much better you feel about a situation by the end of this 3-week period. Hold on one sec. I know they want to tell me something else. Bear with me. They're telling me that by the end of this 3-week period, or within this third week, you get some clarity that is, it's a little bit of like an aha moment in the second week. You're surprised, you're excited, you're rushing to tell somebody, can you believe like this actually might happen? The third week is not about excitement so much. It's not that you're no longer excited, but that excitement sinks in and starts to feel not like a possibility, but like reality. And it could be that things start to really come together by the third week, and you start to really see how this will, how it all will land. But if it doesn't fully resolve in 3 weeks, and it's likely for most of you it won't, but by the third week, you've moved through the excitement and onto a place of content, of happiness, of feeling secure and solid and enjoying the future possibility, the future potential. You know, you start out a bit worried about it or just ready to give up completely. You relax, you open up, you allow the universe to show you what you need to know about this situation. And then you get a sneak peek at what could be possible. You get a glimpse at the potential for the future. And it's beautiful, it's exciting, it's thrilling. And you share it with somebody important in your life to kind of reinforce that feeling. Allow yourself to enjoy that. And then you move into a place of, yeah, this is going to happen. This is real. I believe it. It feels like it goes from futility to potential to full-on belief in 3 weeks. And you will look back and realize just how far you've come and how much you have changed in your thought process about this in that short little time span. It will be a very powerful 3 weeks for you, at least in regards to this situation. Don't force it. Don't try to make it happen. The more you can step back and just allow it to come to you, the quicker and more easily it will occur. All right, group 3, I hope that helps. I hope it gives you a little bit of insight into what you have to hope for in the next 3 weeks. So thank you so much for being here. If the reading resonated, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me know that our energies are connecting. It does also help the channel. It helps these readings get out to other people so that they can get the messages they're meant to hear, and I'm grateful for that. I do believe it also helps future readings resonate with you more because our energies are more connected. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your comments. I read them all and I'm grateful for all of them. Thanks for being here, and y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.